Good evening. I'd like to call the Select Board meeting of October 10th, 2023 to order. We're here in the Select Board room. We're also on Zoom, on RCTV's YouTube page, as well as on television on channel 33 Verizon and 22 Comcast. It's a pretty brief agenda tonight. We'll start as usual with public comment and then Select Board liaison and town manager reports. At 7:30, we have a hearing continued from our last meeting regarding a change of manager for Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza liquor license. At 7:45, we'll discuss an appointment, or we'll appoint a select board member
to the designer selection
committee for the feasibility study for a new senior center. At 7:55, we'll discuss future agenda items, and at 8 o'clock, we will approve, I believe, one set of meeting minutes from back on September 26th. So with that, I'll go to public comment, starting in the room. If there's anyone who'd like to, get up and speak, please come up to the podium, provide your name and address, and try to keep the comments to 3 minutes or less. So anyone in the room?
You were here first.
Go ahead.
Evening, members of the Select Board. Dave Talbot, 75 Linden Street. Just wanted to stop by to talk very briefly about McDonald's. McDonald's is the largest fast food chain in the world. It's got about 39,000 restaurants, including, of course, one in our town. McDonald's corporate headquarters really calls the shots when it comes to restaurant designs. Headquarters controls the land, headquarters helps pay for the reconstruction. And they push very, very hard to get what they want. And they're doing that right now in Reading. As you know, McDonald's is proposing to tear down what really is an eyesore at 413 Main, which is good. But they're insisting on building a new one with double the drive-through capacity. By just the design would allow 3 windows instead of 1, 2 kiosks instead of 1. This is bad. It's kind of bad for the gateway to our downtown. It really flies in the face of everything we're trying to achieve as a community in terms of how we have a walkable downtown, how we try to pursue transit-centered housing, mixed-use development. It goes so far against all of this. Now, wouldn't it be nice if McDonald's, for one of its 39,000 restaurants, could do something differently? It would be transformational if somehow we could convince this massive multinational company to do something that's more consistent with our town's goals and make use of the generous mixed-use zoning. The reason I'm here is just to let you all know that a letter to this effect signed by a number of people in the community, which can be added more signatures once it goes out, is going out tomorrow. It's directed at the McDonald's corporate leadership because they're really the ones who can decide or not decide to do something other than business as usual. You'll all be CC'd on the letter. And again, it's directed at McDonald's. The town, it's hard for the town to influence things here, but they could do something differently if enough pressure was applied. So I just hope that you'll review the letter, think about it, consult with staff, with council, explore your options, and certainly consider supporting the effort in some manner. Perhaps a resolution at your next meeting or whatever other means might be at your disposal. But I just wanted to give you a heads up about it. Just maybe take a walk down there and see how nice that site could be if it was something other than a double drive-through, kind of highway rest stop style fast food joint. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else in the room would like to comment? Yes.
Thank you. Angela Benda, Orchard Park Drive. In 2 weeks, the Select Board will set the new tax rate for the new year, and I'm asking that the Select Board finally do the right thing for the resident taxpayers in this town and adopt a 1.35 shift, up from the 1.05 shift currently in place. For far too long, the argument against adopting anything but a minuscule shift that adjusted only for senior tax credit was that small businesses would be hurt and would pack up and go elsewhere. The facts just don't bear that out. Reading currently has a commercial tax rate of 13.21. North Reading's rate is 13.99. Lynnfield's is 18.15. Woburn's is 21.14. Stoneham's is 21.16. Wakefield has a commercial rate of 22.46, and Wilmington's is 27.34. For far too long, our large commercial properties, and there are a fair number like Home Depot, Staples, Longhorn Steakhouse, Stop and Shop, Market Basket, Home Goods, Chili's, and more, have not paid their fair taxes because the select board has been reluctant to overtax small commercial property owners. The result has been that the residential property taxpayers have been asked to subsidize the large commercial properties. Again, the commercial tax rate in Stoneham is 60% higher than our tax rate. It is 170% higher in Wilmington. Most neighboring towns have a full tax shift, but Reading's tax shift is currently just 1.05, even though we're allowed a 1.5 by law. I'm asking for the select board to go up to 1.35 in the coming year. Last year, select board members Carlo Bacci and Christopher Haley voted tax rate that would have lowered the tax bill for the median 792,000 commercial property by $248, while raising the average residential taxes on a $703,000 residential property by $350. Thank goodness that suggested tax rate did not prevail. In the past 12 years, the average commercial tax bill has gone up 12.6%, while the average residential tax bill has gone up 58.8%. It's time for all commercial properties, including the larger ones, to pay their fair share of taxes. I hope you'll consider a 1.35 split in taxes when you set the tax rate in 2 weeks. Thank you.
No one else in the room, so Caitlin, is there anyone on Zoom who would like to comment?
I'm not seeing anyone for public comment.
Okay, thank you. Great, moving on to liaison reports, Carlo.
Sure, not much. Simon's Way Sports Committee tried to meet last week and we couldn't meet because of quorum. So Fidel was nice enough to send out another request for next week. And I just heard a few minutes ago that everyone responded yes. So we will meet next week and tackle the agenda that we were gonna establish last week. And then some good economic news. A few weeks ago, I reported on the post office restaurant that was for sale. And when Karen implied that it was my listing and it wasn't, I continued. And the good news is that the restaurant did sell. And the new owner is going to open up a new restaurant. I try to get more details, but they want to keep it a little bit private right now. But a new restaurant will be coming, hopefully in the coming months.
Thank you. Chris?
Thanks, Jackie. I know, I think all of us attended the new resident open house, so kudos to everyone that put that on. It was definitely packed when, you know, you had a 50-person or 50-family limit kind of scenario. So it was good to see the amount of people that actually showed up to it. And then the charter committee had our first meeting 2 weeks ago. I was elected chair, and then Phil Pacino is going to be vice chair with me. Our next meeting is on Monday, and we're looking forward to hammering that out in the coming weeks. So that's what I got.
Okay, thank you. Karen?
Sure, thank you. So I attended the RMLD meeting and it was jam-packed with data of our changing heat sources, or I should say energy sources in New England, and the planning that RMLD is doing to get us to where we need to be with green power. Some things that unfortunately are coming to light are there are a number of wind projects that are delayed. We are still 50% gas overall in New England. I believe RMLD is less gas than that, and we could go up to high 20% for hydropower. Nuclear is also in the high 20s or could go as high as 40% if needed in the coming years. So it's great to see that our local municipality is getting ahead of this, and green power is not as plentiful as it will be going forward, so you really need to be proactive about that. The other thing that they have planned is, or they shared with us, that EVs are driving the increases, not heat source heat pumps, in terms of consumption and demand. The current system can handle 220 megawatts, and they are targeting an expansion to be able to handle up to 270 megawatts, if I heard that correctly. In terms of the operations building, they will target 2025, 2026 to come up with a plan for a campus transformation, which may dovetail nicely with the grant we received for planning down the Eastern Middlesex Greenway. We received that grant last week. Let's see. And they have a new podcast, which is playing on RCTV. If you have a spare moment, you might want to check it out. I also attended an MMA conference for women elected municipal officers. The guest speaker was former Lieutenant Governor Jane Swift. We spent a lot of time talking about early literacy and the importance of that, and so I couldn't help feel good about our ARPA allocation to the early literacy reading program in Reading. I also was able to help our chair out by joining the Trails Committee, and they updated us that Essex Environmental should have started their invasive work in the town forest last week, and that was gonna focus on buckthorn and expected to last 4 weeks. And I'm also happy to report that I took a quick trip out to the town forest today, and there are some amazing new blazes, more permanent blazes attached to trees. Some of it gets lost a lot. I'm really excited to see that, and I appreciate Trails and Forest. They probably collaborated on getting those trails well marked. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Jackie. So, Council on Aging met last week, and a couple of notable things. One, it's the time to do podcasts and videos. The council has done a video. It's really worth watching. It talks about kind of the conditions at the current center, where it's lacking, and really kind of sharing with the community how inadequate that facility is currently. You can get access to it. Looks like a press release, I think on October 4th. There's access through the town website, and get more information on the council and their activities. Two other things. One, again, staying with the council, there have been reports of an odor coming out potentially from the heating system. This is not a new issue. In fact, it's a lingering issue. And with the apparent change in season, having the heating system on, I know there's a plan to fill, you might even have some updates to monitor what's happening to see if we can understand what's causing that odor, and then work on alleviating it, removing it. It's not alleviate, it's remove it. Third item is a lot more focus and discussions on programming and thinking about the younger, older community, the age 60 plus community, talking about new programming ideas, and that's coming through Elder Services. It's coming through the folks at Pleasant Street Center, and also the Council on Aging expressing a lot more interest in those programs as well. And that's my update.
Thanks, Mark. And I just have a couple of updates. The Cultural Council met last week. We heard from Brian Kimmerer at our last meeting about their annual application for grant from the state. That application period is open until next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow, October 17th. And the Cultural Council will do interviews of applicants in mid-November. And just as a reminder, that's for any kind of arts, culture, history program in Reading. Also, Cultural Council, as we had heard from Brian, needs volunteers. That is a committee that has state mandated term limits, and I believe Brian and one other member will be term limited out next year. So certainly get the word out. That's one of the well, a lot of our boards and committees do, they all do interesting things. The Cultural Council, as Brian always likes to say, is the one that, gives out money and is a great way to get involved. And then just as an update to our special meeting last week, this board, in terms of the town manager selection process, approved a request for quotes. And we hope to, or plan to have, we will have the responses back by the 19th, a week from this Friday, and so we can talk later about next steps after that with that process. So with that, I'll turn it over to Fidel for town manager report.
Thank you. Just touching base a little bit on the order. So I did get a report, I think 2 weeks ago when the heat was first turned on. We've been monitoring it. It is lingering, as you said, and that was a very apt word. We are. I mentioned that we are doing an inspection of the chimney, which essentially gets rid of the fumes. That is happening next week. The vendor has everything that is needed, but has just taken a little bit of time. And we are. We promised to the Council on Aging that we would do another air quality test once the heat was on. That is happening after we do the chimney inspection, so it will happen at some point at the end of October. It's something that is not constant, and we're trying to troubleshoot exactly where it's coming from. But our facilities department is on it. As you shared earlier, we have a few requests for informations, requests for services, or requests for qualifications that are coming up. The first one is the RFS, the request for services for Killam, for the Killam School for the architect. That one is due on the 11th. So tomorrow we will get those. Hopefully we receive many. And we will share that with the Killam School Building Committee. The request for information for SWEC is due on the 12th at 5 p.m., so later this week. And then the request for qualifications for the Senior Center is due on 10/26, and you have an item before you for later on. I just wanted to share that we had a lunch and learn at the Senior Center last week on Wednesday, and it is why the trash barrels are not here. I took them over to the Senior Center and had a lot of the seniors try them out, if you will. It was a very good conversation. I think the concerns with regards to the size or mobility of the barrels were addressed. And finally, just wanted to flag that as we move through the MBTA communities process, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to gain input. We received a grant from the state for $95,000 to help us in that process. We are having our financial forum on October 25th at 7 p.m. in the library, and it's going to be 100% focused on MBTA communities, and the planning department is having another forum on November 8th. So we're trying to make as many opportunities as possible for folks to interact. That is not just in CPDC. That's out and about in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to add, I believe there's also an MBTA Communities Forum tomorrow night
That's right.
at the library from 7 to 8:30. So another opportunity this week to learn more and provide some input on that. Okay. So, yes, Chris.
Thanks, Jackie. So Fidel, my question that I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Birch Meadow, I saw everyone working there this morning. They've been there every single day that I've gone to school for the last 2 weeks. Sturgis was a ghost town again. Do we have an update on why they are not doing anything over there?
We do. I will start by saying that Birch Meadow is looking good. The building is getting enclosed. The pavilion. They also put down the majority of the walkway today. So it started at the high school and they worked their way up, or sorry, close to Rise, I guess, and worked their way up. It's looking really good on the parking lot side. A lot of the setting of the stones was done. with Sturgis, this is an update from our town engineer at 4:46 p.m. today. Basically, the electrical contractor was there today, and they are working with RMLD to decommission the old electric service, and the contractor, Albanese, is going to be there on Thursday this week.
Is that a one-day thing or?
They are doing restoration, so it's probably gonna be, so to wrap everything up, the target is by the end of October. That's the target.
It was the end of September, it's October, it'll end up being November, the way that this is unfortunately going. There's nothing else that can be done, like, I really expected somebody to be over there this morning, and there was nobody there, other than me.
Sure.
I mean, it just isn't, I know there's things built into contracts for going over dates and all that. I understand the weather, but it was Tuesday, it was perfect to do anything this morning, and there were no show. So, I don't know who has to hear something else for somebody to do something, but I think it's gone long enough over there.
I appreciate it. I'll follow up.
Okay, Fidel and Caitlin, do we have the applicant? I know we're a bit early for 7:30.
Yes, he's in
Okay.
line.
Great. So we will consider a change in manager for Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza license. In our packet, we've got the application. Fidel, do you want to walk through or have the applicant introduce themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. They're joining through Zoom. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Chris Larson.
Thank you, Chris. And yeah, we're continuing the hearing, obviously, from last meeting. Let me get these questions again.
Just protocol, since we don't continue hearings at all, do I need to read this again? The notice, should I do that?
I checked with CPDC and Conservation, who do this all the time, and that is
Okay.
what's typically done.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
Okay, so just for the public's edification and for process, to the inhabitants of the town of Reading, please take notice that the select board of the town of Reading will hold a public hearing on September 26th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Continued to tonight, October 10th, in the select board meeting room, Town Hall, 16 Lowell Street, Reading, Mass. And also available remotely on Zoom to act on a change of manager application for an annual all alcohol restaurant license for Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza of Reading LLC located at 48 Walker's Brook Drive, Reading, Mass. A copy of the proposed documents regarding this topic will be in the select board packet on the website www.readingmass.gov. All interested parties are invited to attend this hearing in person or remotely via Zoom, or may submit their comments in writing or by email prior to 6 p.m. On September 26th, as well as tonight, October 10th, to the town manager at ci.reading.ma.us by order of Fidel Maltez, town manager.
Okay, thanks, Karen. So questions for Mr. Larson? Yes, Mark.
Nice, Jackie. Mr. Larson, any chance you can put your camera on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you on a phone?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Nice
Sorry
to meet
about
you. No, thank you. It's just great to actually kind of see people as long as we're going through here. I was wondering if maybe you could just kind of introduce yourself to the board, a little bit about your background. I'd really appreciate that.
My name is Chris Larson once again. I've been in the restaurant business for over 40 years. I'm been with Anthony since March I started, and I've been in Reading here since the beginning of July.
In terms of background, I saw Papagino's.
And
Oh, I'm sorry,
that
yes.
was a while ago.
I've run Papadino's, I've run Jimmy's Steakhouse. Had my own restaurants at the time. basically just a foodie all my life.
Awesome. Thanks, that helps. I would love to readdress with my usual comments at the end.
Yes, okay. Any other questions or comments from folks?
Nope,
No.
not this time.
Okay, Mark?
So one more thing, so again, great to meet you and kind of see you, not quite eye to eye, but as close as we can. One of the things that we like to do is we're welcoming new members into the community. You're essentially, coming into our community now, is very much to welcome you and we're very glad to have you here, and your background is tremendous for this. One of the things that's very important to this board is alcohol compliance policies, and would love to kind of get you on board with that understanding as well, that that's something that we take very seriously, and appreciate your diligence in making sure that things happen according to the appropriate regulations, and we don't have to have any sort of meetings because that didn't happen.
I appreciate that, and that is huge on my part also. I run this like it's my own. In my restaurants, I've had alcohol licensing, so I understand all the expectations that come with it. We are pretty frugal here. We have strict guidelines, and we are, knock on wood, adhere to them at all times. Like I said, I've only been here since July, so, but we have some good people, and they're very conscientious.
Good, well, we appreciate
That as well. It's something this board takes very seriously, and appreciate your kind of being on the same page with us there.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. So I guess move to close the public hearing?
Sure, move to close the hearing regarding the change of manager application from Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza.
Second.
Thanks, Karen, and thanks, Mark. Any discussion? Okay, voting, all in favor?
I have another motion, do you want me to read it?
Sure.
Okay. Move to approve the change of manager application for an annual all alcohol restaurant license, DBA Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza at 48 Walker's Brook Drive.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Karen and Mark. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? 5-0. So, Mr. Larson, congratulations, good luck, and welcome again to Reading.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate your welcome. It's been a great experience so far.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. Next item on the agenda is the appointment of a select board member to the designer selection committee for the feasibility study for a new senior center. And I see in our packet that begins on page, or the RFQ rather, for design services that Fidel mentioned, begins on page 9 of the packet. Fidel, do you want to just give us a bit of background and status on where we're at?
Sure, absolutely. So the as you know, this request for qualifications we brought before the board, I believe twice. Had significant input on significant input from the Council on Aging, recalc, and essentially we wanted to be very inclusive in the way that it was done. That means that the selection process, as in who picks what designer we are going to go with, includes a member from the Council on Aging. It includes a member from the Permanent Building Committee. It includes a member from Recalc, and we also wanted to have a member from the Select Board. This would be a one-time appointment. Obviously, it's not a committee. It's just a group that is gonna potentially meet twice. There's no quorum for any of those committees. The first meeting is going to be to review submittals, identify the top 3 most likely, and generate what questions we want to ask, those top 3, and then the second meeting is probably going to be an interview of those top 3, followed by a decision essentially on who we move with. We held a walkthrough at the senior center last week, I believe, and we had about 12 firms come. So we hope that means that there's going to be a nice amount of interest in these submittals. And yeah, we wanted to make sure that the select board was represented in this process.
Okay, thank you. Board members, discussion? Yes.
Thanks, Jackie. So I've been pretty engaged with this project and process, and would love to participate as the select board member. I think all the other groups at this point have selected someone. It is just gonna be a couple of meetings, and I would be happy to do it if fellow board members are comfortable with me doing it.
Other thoughts? Karen?
Nope, I nominate Mark. I appreciate your willingness to do this and all the effort you've put into this project so far and recalc.
Yes.
Thanks, Jackie. Yeah, I agree with Karen and Mark. Mark's been spearheading this for the past couple years-ish. So it just makes sense for him to be the one that continues with it.
I'm not sure if Mark's qualified. Mark had my full support, of course.
Likewise for me. So again, was there a nomination?
Yes, and can I ask one question before we, Fidel, do you know could you share who the other members are?
Yeah. Absolutely. The Permanent Building Committee is John Coote, I think that's how you say it. Yeah. Council on Aging is Nancy Tuadros. Recalc is Mike Holdman, and hopefully Mark from the side.
Okay.
And there will also be Joe Huggins will be involved. Obviously, Jenna will be involved. Myself, Matt, Jane Wellman as procurement officer. So it'll be a total of 7 people, I believe. I think that's right. 7 or 8.
Thank you.
Okay. So sounds. Yeah. Go ahead. Yep.
Move to appoint Mark Doxer as a select board designee to the designer selection committee for the feasibility study for the new senior center.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. And I second. So all those in favor, raise your hand, please. Opposed? Okay, we're 5-0. Okay. Thanks, Mark. Look forward to hearing more about it. And wow, here we are, future agenda items. So, future agenda items start on page 25 in the packet, and we have a pretty big agenda on October 24th. We already have the hearing that we know about on tax classification with Victor Santinello. We've got some good news in terms of the introduction of the new Director of Equity and Social Justice. At that meeting, we'll also, is the, I guess the Meadowbrook easement acceptance is still there? As of-
We will move it for sure. Probably to the November 7th meeting.
Okay,
So we're good. I think there's some progress being made. We won't be ready at that point to meet.
okay. Okay, so that gets moved to November 7th. Is the select board appointment of the Board of Registrars members still on track for, okay, October 24th? And then also, Laura Gem and I talked tonight, and she would like to present before the select board on October 24th because she, as our elections officer, has a request regarding the scheduling of local elections in spring of 2024 in light of the presidential primary, which is on March 5th. And she explained to me that in some years, the select board, it's kind of backwards, but by not voting, we can allow Laura and her election staff to separate the two so that the presidential primary would be on March 5th, which is obviously a multi-state federal election, and then the local election would be on April 2nd. So we asked Laura to come and speak about that. So we should add that on October 24th. I think last meeting we also talked about an update from kind of Elder Affairs departmentally about their use of ARPA funds. Is that something we should still do in light of, I know there's been discussion about programming and so.
So I think at some point, absolutely.
Yeah.
We should hear from them, how they're using funds.
Okay. Yes.
So, as an interim suggestion, Jenna did send out reports, financial reports of every single line item. It might be, helpful to at least get that into everybody's hands. I think I don't know if anybody besides Mark and I as liaisons got it. And I found that to be very, helpful, so.
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. We should add an item on October 24th about town manager screening committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, does the timing of that work? Because if we do similar to last time, there'd be members of the public also, and a desire to kind of interview potential members of the public to participate. Am I?
2 weeks?
Correctly? I'm just trying to schedule out, when do we wanna do that? When do we have to have that group together? So that when we're gonna have the responses from your RFQ in a week or two, right?
19th or
A
something?
week from Friday.
Yeah, before the meeting, that was,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna have to discuss, you know,
the committee, and including members of the public. And if it's members of the public, to how we're gonna select those people.
well, Jay, is it the 24th when we're actually picking the consultant?
So, sorry, I think I may be
The 20,
backward.
no, the consultant's picked by Jane or whatever. Oh, it's awarded by.
Price and
Right,
qualification.
sorry, lowest bidder, sorry, so, but even though we may get a heads up, right, the public won't really know until the 24th is of who the consultant is, right, at this meeting. So I don't know if, I know we have to move quick, but I don't know if that's the right time to form a committee, you mean, yeah, I think that's what you're asking.
Right, well, so I think built into the process in the RFQ was that we would have a committee working.
I forget the date, yeah.
So I just wanna make sure that.
Yeah, no, right,
Yeah,
right.
we're ahead of it.
So I think we aimed in that proposed timeline that we reviewed at the special meeting last week to seat a committee by November 1st.
Okay,
And my thought, and let me know what you think of this, but on the 24th, we can discuss the makeup of the of the screening committee rather. And if which I don't wanna predict, but we also should talk about the members as well as the role for kind of a non committee or board member of the public. And perhaps leave open the possibility that we would need a special meeting to interview interested members on the week of October 30th. So that we can vote on a screening committee at our meeting on November 7th. Was my
I got you, okay.
was my
I
thought.
remember last time, like 30, 40 people came in, so that's.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gonna be the same, I don't know.
To interview or just keep?
That's why we need to put in agenda item to
To
talk about
interview,
this.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
interviewed.
Talk about it now.
We had pages of people.
Yeah, and so I figured, we have a consultant lowest bidder on the 19th at the end of next week.
Yeah.
When we meet on October 24th, we talk about makeup of the screening committee, who's represented, what role, for community members, put out the word, if we are soliciting applicants, which I assume we probably will, perhaps maybe hold a meeting, a special meeting during the week of the October 30th to interview those folks and then vote on a screening committee on November 7th so that we have a screening committee up and running in early November before town meeting.
Yeah, I forgot about the November 1st thing, yeah, I think that sounds good.
So I'm gonna be traveling the week of the 30th.
Okay.
Would you be able to join by Zoom?
No.
No, okay. 21st is Halloween.
Yes.
I don't think any of us are trick or treating.
Okay, and then the only other item I had as a future agenda item was, and maybe we can look at this in November, is an update on parking enforcement.
Yeah, that was my request, yeah.
So maybe on the 7th or the 21st. Okay, any other items?
So it was a terrific RMLD meeting last week. I see that we have a number of kind of annual reports to us. I'm not sure how often we need MAPC to come in and do that, but it may be in the, we do have RMLD on there, sorry. So anyway, I would definitely say that we schedule that in the next couple of months.
Annual meetings?
Get well, we said last week we were gonna invite the Reading Ice Arena. It's been about a year since we've seen them to come out, between now and December. And I don't know if they've had a chance to respond to Fidel yet, but it would behoove this board, I think, to hear directly from RMLD. They have the presentation that they did to the public, and it would just, as the owners of the RMLD, to have them really just speak to us about the strategy, the things that they're underway. It would, in this day and age.
So have the RMLD report.
Yeah.
RMLD board.
Yeah.
Report, okay.
I'm not sure why it says cab on there. I mean, obviously a cab member Vivek would be invited.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
One other thought, I think last year, maybe before, we were getting department heads to come in occasionally and kind of share with us what's going on. And I was just thinking, with Chris Cole now being in the new role as the head of DPW, maybe that's a good one to have soon, kind of hear about his plans.
Winter.
That was cool. Yeah, winter's a quiet time.
Has that been announced?
I don't think it was announced.
Was it not announced?
Yeah. We'll do it.
Yeah, it was announced 30 seconds ago by Mark
I
Phillips.
think it was before.
Yeah, in the email to us.
Oh, did we get an email? Okay.
Okay.
Must have missed that
Yeah,
one.
that's a good idea, especially before, November, early December. Okay.
And then maybe we can do it with some other departments also, where there's less potential of issue.
Who else do we want to announce? Anybody?
Could we, at our next meeting, on the town manager's report, have we got some amazing grant award news in the last couple of weeks. Could we have a summary of that from the town manager at our next meeting? I think that would be great. Like, you and the rest of the staff, to have extra public kudos and, for the community to understand, how successful we are being and the value it's adding to the community. It's in a dollar terms and in project terms.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then, of course, in December, we'll start our departmental budget presentations as well. Okay. Well, with that, the only item left is a set of minutes from September 26th. Caitlin, did you receive any edits to those minutes?
I did not.
Is it possible? Is this possible that we're gonna do these clean? Wow.
I had no
It's been a couple times.
edits.
Rare. But good, yeah. I'm good.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the September 26th minutes as presented?
So moved.
Thanks, Karen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Mark. All in favor? Opposed? 5-0. Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
There's a motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Mark. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Karen. All those in favor? Opposed? 5-0, and we're adjourned. Thank you. Good night.
Did I win?